Hydrogen has the atomic number 1 and is the first element because it is the lightest element in the periodic table of elements. The element hydrogen can be symbolized with a uppercase letter H, and the atomic number with the lower case symbol Z is equal to 1 for hydrogen, and the atomic number can be indicated on the lower left-hand side of the symbol for hydrogen as a 1. The atomic number is the charge number of an atom nucleus. And the charge in the nucleus comes from the positively charged protons. Positively charged protons. And hydrogen has only one proton in its atom core. The proton can be symbolized with a small case letter P and a plus sign for its charge. Atom comes from the Greek word atomos and means the uncuttable, or the one that cannot be further divided. Because the idea that the world consists of smaller particles that cannot be separated further goes back to ancient Greece and was adopted in the early 19th century by a scientist named Dalton, because atoms were considered to be elementary particles. So in the early 19th century, atoms were considered to be elementary particles by the scientist named Dalton. A century later, however, it was discovered that atoms can be further divided when protons were discovered by Rutherford. The protons that we just mentioned were discovered by Rutherford. He discovered them experimentally. And proton is Greek and means first. So atom stands for the uncuttable, and proton stands for first. Because when they were discovered, they were considered to be elementary particles. which cannot be further divided. And protons are subatomic particles, which means they are part of atoms and they are the building blocks of atoms. However, protons themselves consist actually of smaller particles called quarks. Protons actually consist of quarks. Quarks were discovered another half a century later after Rutherford, when protons were accelerated and smashed together to see if they split. And they did split. And quarks are, to our current understanding, elementary particles. So you may notice here a pattern which stems from the desire to find the base or elementary particle of which all matter is made up. For our further considerations, we won't go too much into quarks, as it would lead us too much into particle physics. And we want to continue with our introduction to chemistry, for which it is helpful to learn a little bit about the history of the discovery of protons and atoms, and what they are made up of. They're elementary particles such as quarks in the case of protons, for example, just to lay a foundation here from particle physics. In chemistry, sometimes we refer to hydrogen as proton. And we will see in our next video, when we look at the atomic model of hydrogen, why we use hydrogen and proton sometimes interchangeably.